Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, it is the Friday after Father's Day, and I've got so much to do, it's just not even funny. So much grass to cut, so much gardening to work on, so I'm just behind, and that's just the way it is. And you get that way sometimes, and some things are out of your control. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. I need to get my tools organized some. It's too wet to work in the garden. Should be by Monday, it should be back to where I can work in the garden. And I think all next week's going to be dry, so I should be able to get my hay cut, my garden done. It just depends on a lot of things. But today, one of the big things for me, cicada, one of the big things for me is that I'm all time having to go buy fuel for my tractor, because I was getting it in 5-gallon cans. Well, lifting a 5-gallon can for me to pour in the tractor, I can only put about 3.5 gallons in, or else I wind up spilling it. So I went out and bought something, but I have to build something for the tank to set on. So that's what I'm doing today. And this is not, just so you know, this channel is not a teaching channel. Okay, it's not a how-to, but it's just a what I'm doing channel. Now, the boys bought me a present. This is a Bauer circular saw, and I'm going to try it out today so I don't have to run an extension cord from the workshop all the way out here, 100-foot extension cord. So yeah, let's get at doing this. that screw won't come out. Well, what do you do in that case? Well, that shelf just stays there then. It could probably use the extra support anyway. Especially at this end. Took it out instead of put it in. Yeah. Snakes. Don't stick your hands in the lumber pile. We got little copperheads here. They don't like to be bothered. Okay, one of the best things you ever did for yourself is keep your drywall screws or all your screws in a coffee can. You can label it, and they stack right on top of each other on a shelf. So anytime you need a certain size screw or bolt or just whatever, you can go get it. And when the coffee can gets low, see, this is 2.5-inch drywall screws. Okay, I've got less than half a pound, so next time I go to the hardware store, I'll get a pound of them. All right. Now, don't stick your hands down there, dummy. You know better. Okay, this is what I bought. This tank holds 14 gallons of diesel, holds 14 gallons of gasoline. It's made for gasoline, but I couldn't find a diesel one. So I just did a gas one. But the problem is, get that water off of it. The problem is that weighs 100 pounds when it's full. 98 pounds with 12 gallons of diesel in it. Okay, so I may not be able to lift it. That's the question. I'm going to use my tractor bucket to get it most of the way, and then I may have to figure something out to raise it on up, you know. All this is trial and error. So yeah. Used to, when I was a young man, we carried 2 100-pound sacks of feed, one on each shoulder, 300 yards down to the chicken house. Because back then we didn't have 4-wheel drive trucks and stuff. You only drove back there. You couldn't drive back there because your 2-wheel drive truck would get stuck. So you had to tote your feed. I hated using a wheelbarrow. So 1 sack on one shoulder, 1 sack on the other. Back then feed came in 100-pound sacks. So yeah. Alright, let's see if I can get this up there. Okay. Come on. Don't be that way. get it to... Oh, I see. Yes. Okay, I can't tell. Okay, that's where I think I'm going to end the video. This unit is going to be big for us. I was afraid that I might not be able to lift it up there, but by using the tractor and putting it over there, I can put one side up and the other. I think I can do that for a long time, because it's not too heavy if you're just lifting half of it at a time. Okay, and then you can slide it the rest of the time. I put a strap around it because I don't want to come out here and find out that Henri the possum has got up there to see what I was doing and knocked it off and busted the tank, and I've got diesel fuel spilled all over the tractor shed. I've got to get some yellow paint. I couldn't get a yellow can like that, one of those caddies. That thing holds 14 gallons. I only put 12 in it because I was afraid about how I was going to be able to lift it. But I think I can put the 14 in it. By doing it with the tractor the way I did it, it was not that hard, and it'll be easy to get down. And I made it so that you'll notice that first board I put is a little bit lower than the others. I made it so that the wheels wouldn't be sitting on the wheels. It would be sitting on the bottom of the tank. That way those axles don't get warped sitting there. I was kind of afraid that they might warp up sitting there on the like that. So I've been getting diesel in 2 5-gallon cans, but the problem is, in order to pour it in there, I can't put a full 5 gallons or else I spill diesel all over the front of the tractor. So I've only been able to get 3.5 gallons in each can, 7 gallons at a time, and that generally does me about a month. Well, at 14 gallons, I should be able to fill this up about every 2 months, and once in the winter, because over the winter I use about a total of 14 gallons period. About a total of 7 or 8 gallons. So one thing about these tanks though that you need to be aware of, when it gets winter time, they're bad to sweat. And where the hose port is down toward the bottom, but it is up off the bottom of the tank a little bit. Every now and then I'll need to drain that tank and make sure that there's not water accumulating in it, because all you got to do is put a big round of water in your tractor and you've got a pain for days and days and days. So yeah, I want to get some paint and paint it yellow, paint that tank yellow mostly, but I've ordered two stick-on signs that says diesel only that I'll put on either side, so that way if somebody comes up, my kids or something like that, they come up and they want to run my zero-turn lawnmower, which uses regular gasoline, they won't come over here and get diesel and put in it and screw it up. So yeah, and then once I got that up there, I was looking and I thought, you know, that would be a good place to store my hand tools, like my hoes and rakes and all that stuff. So I put that little shelf on the bottom so that tools like shovels that are short, I could just sit on that shelf. It also adds a little something at the bottom when you set tools down that have handles, so that the handles sit against that shelf and it keeps them from moving. So yeah, I think that's gonna be a handy little addition. I've got my tools all lined up along this workbench over here, and yeah, I think that will be a good place to keep them. I'm all time needing them for my tractors, to do tractor stuff. I'm going to fix up a thing where I can hang I've got a 24-inch, I'll get it out. I've got a 24-inch crescent wrench that I use to adjust my plows and stuff. So I'll hang it there, and that will make life so much simpler. It's just sitting over here on the table. You know, everything's sitting over here on the table, so that everything's just jumbled all to pieces. So yeah, today's going to be our first 90-degree day. It's June the, I think it's June the 20th. I think. I'm not certain. Yeah, June the 21st. It's going to be our first 90-degree day. So I've got to start putting on off when I come out, because we have chiggers here, and if you don't put on off, you wind up scratching all summer. So yeah, some people say, oh, you can't put those chemicals on you. I'm going to tell you, I'd rather have chemicals than skeeters, or than chiggers. Chiggers are the bane of my existence. Oh, I hate them little devils. Anyway, that's where I'm going to end the video. Maybe you shouldn't do what I do, but this is not a teaching video. This is just a what I'm doing video. So now, if you like this stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homesteading stuff every week, sometimes once, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell, it'll be right up here when you come to the channel. It'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, with the occasional short on Friday, Saturday, and through the week. Now, time for me to get on to the next thing. I love you all.